before I move on to the next one, we're going to say goodbye to Adam then, and I'll ask Mr. SilencedBomb to move to the podium, move in front into the crowd. Yeah, that's pretty much it. We're going to have one last In My Mind session, and the rest of it will be probably team games. Adam, are you staying awake still?
Yeah, I'm gonna stay awake for the next 10 minutes, then I'm gonna hit the meds, then I'm gonna go to bed.
Okay. Okay, so no team games with Origin today. No Nexus building with Zerg.
No, my eyes are so, when you have the flu, it feels like if someone's squishing your eyes. That's how I've been like the whole day. So,
Kind of feel that. Yeah, I'm the type of person that I'm not getting sick too often, but when I get sick, like I'm sick. I'm literally
yeah,
like
no,
I'm
same,
glued to
yeah.
the bed.
Anyway, thanks for the In My Mind session. I hope it helps whoever's watching. I hope it helps you, Miles. And it was a brilliant stream you had on for today.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. I'm happy that you enjoyed it and stayed for so long. Like, and also GG's on that best of five, man. You keep saying, both of you keep saying that each other's matchups is the worst for both of you, but you actually played super solid games, super entertaining. You're going to see, because it's going to be on YouTube. That one is going to be on my casting channel,
Yeah.
and probably these In My Mind sessions as well.
Oh yeah,
We'll
on
see.
that note, on those matches, the what I was spamming on all, it means good luck, have fun in 4 different languages.
Sorry. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. The intro. The intro. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Now
Yeah.
I know what. I was thinking like, wait, what languages? Oh wait, yeah. I love that Rob was like, stop it.
But all for fun, these guys. And anyway, everybody have a good night. Miles, have a good night, buddy.
You too, man. You too. All right,
Cheers,
cheers.
man. Bye.
All right. Duncan, please get to one of the channels, and I'll pull you in. And then we're going to have some fun, some more fun. I still see a couple of people here. I get that after 13 hours and a half watching my face here. This is not going to be that entertaining, but I'm still trying. Welcome, Mrs. SilencedBomb. Welcome.
There was
Hello,
a
hello.
time this morning when I woke up and cut your streams. It's definitely
Ooh, thank you very much, Sizzly, for the hydrate. Duncan, you have to hydrate as well. You have to do stretching.
okay.
You have to do all the stuff that they ask you, or ask me, basically. You're gonna share the burden.
Okay, let me get my bottle 1 sec.
There we go.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. So I'm going to wait for you to pull me into a lobby, and then we can basically, well, yeah, I'll just have some cool.
Okay, so I have 2 replays. I tried to find one where I lost, like Winter was doing earlier, but the issue is most of the ones I lost were either like really short cheese games or TVT, and I don't understand TVT at all, so it wouldn't really be worth much of an analysis. So instead I found a TVP that's like pretty much standard and just kind of like perfect Terran builds, and then a really trashy TVZ that I somehow won, but I made a lot of mistakes. So I was thinking that could make up for the loss that I couldn't find.
Okay. Take it away, and yeah, I'm also going to do the same thing as I did with the other guys. If you want me to go on your vision, I'm gonna do that. If you want, we can stay on everyone.
Okay, yeah, I think to start off with, you can just go to my vision, and I'll talk about it from there, like what I was thinking.
Okay.
Like I mentioned too, like the big, I guess like some overall theory stuff. I heard someone else put it this way. I don't remember who, but basically the idea is like at a certain level in the game, you get to the point where you're macroing almost perfectly. Your opponent is as well, right? Like you're maxing out at 10 minutes, right? Everyone at that level knows how to macro. And so really the issue becomes, can you macro while trying to screw up your opponent and hurt their macro at the same time, right? So I'm not quite at that point yet. It's not like my macro is always perfect. I'm always maxing out at 10, but I'm getting pretty close. Like usually I can max out by 11, 12 minutes. And so I think maybe like a M2, M1 level, that type of idea of like harassment trying to screw up your opponent becomes much more important.
Yeah. I totally agree.
So
Okay.
for the most part, I just play standard. You know, most matchups is going to be 17 SCV Scout, you know, Reaper, fast expand into 1/1/1.
Yeah, that's pretty much what you play, I think, a lot of times.
So first thing I want to mention here, you can see the SCV at the ramp. So the 17 SCV Scout, and you can actually tell a lot by Protoss probe timings. It kind of tells you what they're doing. So if they don't scout with the probe, it's, I find, usually 60% chance that they're going to proxy you. In this game, the probe is late, so I encounter it about middle of the map, which tells me that, you know, the guy did a later scout, which means my SCV building my barracks will finish the barracks by the time his SCV comes, or his probe arrives, which means I don't have to pull an extra SCV to defend it.
And that is actually big, economy-wise, in my opinion.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, it allows me to get the command center maybe 1 or 2 seconds faster. And then here too, I may click on him, but usually I just look at the minimap to see if he's taking a natural. And so yeah, you can see already there's a dot on the bottom left, so I know he has a natural. He doesn't micro his probe here either, so I actually fight it just to move it off.
That's actually really, really big, honestly.
Your command center upgrade
Got your CC timing at a decent time, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's a little late, but yeah, it's not too big a deal. And then on the way out too, you can look at the minimap, second pylon by the natural, right? So that means he's not proxying me initially. I don't have to worry about a, you know, fast zealot, you know, like a max fax or anything like that.
Yeah, I actually love that you don't really pay attention to the screen itself, but you're actually just reading the minimap. That's something I wish I could actually do properly, but I'm not at that level. I usually just tend to click over there and just see for myself.
Yeah. And so with the Reaper, I'm mostly just trying to keep it alive at this point. I don't really care too much about scouting what tech unit he's going for. Mostly I just want to see if he's going for a third base. And that's just because I've noticed the recent meta has been a lot of like 4-gate blink, and my build is particularly weak to that. Here I'm just trying to delay the adept. I think my bunker's done at this point. Yeah, the bunker's done. It's just I only have 1 marine, and so I hate dealing with adepts. So as long as I can, or as much as I can delay it. But for the most part, you know, early game TVP is just, you know, macro, can you defend the early adapt, don't let in your main base. Pretty standard stuff.
That was
I will say, in this case here, now that I know the adepts on my side of the map, I'm not really looking at my Reaper at all, right? My camera is always going to be here because I always need to pay attention to where is that wall in case the adept shades in. And of course, it's not the end of the world if the adept does get in, but it's kind of annoying. You might lose an SCV or 2, so.
And also you might you could actually play the mind game, I guess, like if you cannot scout like what's in your main base, you know.
Yep. So this is just like a build thing. Usually you want to start your first depot at maybe like 36 or 38 supply, but you can see here I'm at 42 out of 46, so my depot is late. So what that means in terms of the build is instead of starting just 1 depot, I have to make 2 at a time.
Yeah, because you're constantly producing and everything, so.
Yeah. And so, you know, even if you're late in certain things, like, or, you know, getting supply blocked, it's never too late to make up for it. And then also it's 4 minutes, so he should have a third base about this time. Oh, I thought I was going to use it. Oh, okay, I'll mention that later. So I thought I was going to use the Reaper to scout the third base, but looks like I just sacrificed it. But at least all you didn't take the triangle, so that means, yeah, when I send out the window mine drop here, I'm going to go to the line third, because if he has a third, it's going to be there.
And you're going to scout the third base alongside, like trying to drop widow mines.
Also, at this point here, if you look on my camera, which is looking over my production, you can see 2 observers, like right between the barracks and the depot.
Yeah.
And so I think it was about this point in the game that I saw those observers there. I don't have a scan yet. I don't actually clear them up until later, and he eventually sends one of the observers. Yeah, like here I'm zooming in, right? So I see the observers there. I do eventually clear them up, but for the most part, you know, he knows what I'm
I was
doing.
thinking,
It
like,
doesn't
what
really
the fuck
bother
is
him.
that long observer? I know they actually raised the size of it, but
Yep.
this is like extreme. I was like, that's not an observer, that's an invisible shark.
Yep. And so this part of the what am I?
Two.
Sorry.
No, I was just saying. Turns out it was 2, like 2 observers.
So I was just going to mention this part of a widow mine drop is always difficult because you have to swap your barracks add-ons, or I'd put the 2 barracks on the 2 tech labs while also microing the drop and burrowing the mines. And so if I was faster or if I was a better player, I would also be target firing the mines, but I'm just not fast enough to do that. And so for the most part, when I do a widow mine drop, I just ignore the mines. So I just burrow them and then I just forget about it because I want to be at home macroing and making sure my upgrades are in time.
Our army be scrapping. Armed and ready.
And yeah, so you could see for a second there, I was actually floating 400 minerals, which is about 100 too much. And that's because I spent too long microing one of my widow mines.
Ah, yeah, because you had to move it into position.
Yep. And then this
Yeah,
point
it's
of the
actually
build.
really interesting how fast you can actually, because of the mules, how fast you can start floating with turn.
Yep. Yeah, clear up the observer. Yeah, so at this point here, it's just basic macro. You know, make 2 supply depots continuously, saturate the 4th gas, and then just max out production. I'll fast forward here because I don't think much happens until 6:30. So the move out, because this is 3-1-1, right? So the push hits at 7 minutes. You have to move out at 6:30.
So
Okay,
you
so
had 2 observers here. I wasn't really.
Yeah, he sent one home.
Ah, okay. Yeah.
So at this point here, this is like one of the first major like deviations you can make in your build. Either I've moved out with my main army. At this point, I can either stop making army and save up for 3rd command center, make it on point, and just go economic. And then the follow up would be an eBay and an armory. So that's like more of a tech build. Or I can just keep making units, delay my 3rd a little bit, but have perhaps like a second medevac drop later on in my push. I usually opt for the second option, which is, you know, keep making units and do a second medevac drop while I do my main push. And that's just because my mid game is usually my strongest, and I don't feel too confident against late game Protoss.
Okay.
Let's have a blast.
Okay, and so this is actually a mistake. At this point, I load up my 2 medevacs at home, but you can see one of them is almost entirely empty. So what I should have done is just wait like 5 seconds because I'm about to have a second Marauder pop out and a couple more mines pop out. So I should have just waited until I could fill both of them up and then send them across. But, you know, I got panicky. I wanted to end the game and, you know, hit with my push as soon as possible.
The trauma.
Upgrade
The TVP trauma.
complete.
Yep. And then you can see the observer over my army. So this is the other big thing. I think a lot of lower level Terrans tend to overcommit here with their first push. The idea behind this push is actually just to defend your 3rd while they're taking, basically allow you to expand. So I don't really need to do that much damage. Now, I can't just sit at home and do absolutely nothing. I have to do something, but like just a pressure, being out on the map, forcing the Protoss to make units. In this case, I'll move up a little and see that he made an army. And so the moment I see, okay, well, this guy made some zealots, made some stalkers, he didn't just choose his way up to 4 and 5 bases, I don't really need to do that much here. Now, my army is actually bigger than his, but, you know, super battery, colossi, I don't feel comfortable pushing in here. And at the same time, if you look at the minimap, my drop is arriving in his main base.
Okay, and now we burn the mines. Ooh, that's actually a nice mine there.
And this kind of begins the double prong stage of the game, which is the big thing I've been trying to practice with my Terran lately. I picked these 2 Marauders up too early. I could have killed that Colossi, but I wasn't paying attention and, you know, trying to do things quickly and micro roll sides of my army.
Okay.
You want a piece of me? Ready for dust off. Our army be scrapping.
Origin says, love the mind games forcing your opponent to make more units. Yeah, I also like that.
I don't know if it's really a mind game. It's really just the build. Like, they have to make the units. If they don't, then I just aim move and they die.
The minerals
Oh yeah, that's also true.
But,
But I
yeah.
guess it was talking about not committing.
Yeah, not committing. Yeah.
Instantly, because yeah, I think I and a lot of people would think that the Terran is just committing to that push. Because usually that's what happens. And it either ends with me typing out GG or they typing me to get cancer and they leave the game.
See if I can. I think it's.
mineral field depleted.
Here we go. Okay, yeah. So this is perhaps the second big mistake here. So I technically have 2 armies on the map, sort of, except my second army, it consists of 2 medevacs and 2 marauders. So that's not really much of an army. And if you look at my third base, I have quite a lot of units. Well, I had a lot of units there. I just went to my main, I think. But yeah, so what I should do with the second army is send my reinforcements back at home to these 2 medevacs, and suddenly now I actually have a sizable force. If a Terran is attacking you with 2 marauders, you can pretty much ignore it. Like, just send 2 zealots and you'll clean it up. So this is it doesn't really cost me the game, but it's definitely a misplay that I could have done a lot better.
Wait, so you're sending those in faster? What's happening there?
So in this case, actually, I'm just trying to deny 4th. Like, he's on 3 bases,
Oh,
but now
okay.
I'm on 3 bases, so I'm going to beat him in the economic game. So you can see with my main army, I'm looking up top in the line to see if he has a 4th. I use these marauders to scout triangle, and he doesn't have one. So at this point, I know, okay, well, I can kind of just sit back. I don't need to push in, right? I'm winning right now.
Your command center
What I
at
should
this
really be
point,
doing
you
is-
have a 4th base, honestly.
Yeah, and what I should be doing is teching out, right? Getting ghosts or getting my own 4th base. But then he overreacts to my 2 marauders down south because he's trying to take a 4th base. He sends his entire army down there, and so I get to go and kill his 3rd. And at this point, I'm pretty much at winning, or I have pretty much won.
Yeah, I think it's over here. Delaying this late in the game and having to remake this, just don't have the economy.
Yep.
That's what I hate about PvT. 'Cause if the Terran manages to drop you or just go in and outplay you, then you basically just lose the game. Even though you're not dead instantly, you can leave the game honestly, because it's like basically over, in my opinion.
And so, of course, in this case right now, this is his 3rd base, and he's actually on 2. So I have pretty much won the game, but, you know, I don't have a big enough army here to actually kill anything, like kill a base or kill a pylon, so I just go after a couple probes. And since this is his only base, of course, his army is going to arrive pretty soon.
Depot thingies needed.
I actually like that you left those mines there.
So I moved my camera right. Okay, yeah, so I want to mention here, right, so I had 3 medevacs, but I don't really have much of a big army. And so I fly all the medevacs away, but I split off the 1 medevac that actually has units and go to the main. Because at the same time, I'm moving my main army.
Add-on complete.
Well, I'm about to move my main army. There you go. Yeah, so that little medevac, or yeah, this one in the main, that's just a distraction, right? 2 marauders and 2 marines shouldn't ever actually achieve anything. In this case, I actually kill a robo, but that's just because I'm so far ahead. And then I think, like, it's pretty soon after this that he leaves the game.
More shoebox.
Oh, wait, no, yeah, he goes in DTs, tries some last-ditch effort, but he's very far behind at this point.
Additional supply depots are required.
But I do think this also illustrates that idea that you can't ever fight a Protoss army one-on-one with your Terran army. Like, a Protoss army is always going to be stronger than you, so you should always have at least some forces on other sides of the map, right? Some type of distraction, or just somewhere where if he attacks one of your armies, you can go in with the other one.
Shoebox depot thingies.
Yeah, make some DTs, but I don't even like care at this point, right?
SCVs.
Yeah, at this point it's like whatever.
Yeah, and so right here, I think I just F2, so I can get a surround with my 2 armies.
Additional supply depots
So,
are
yeah, now clean this, yeah. And you can see now I'm floating like 1.5k because I'm supply blocked at 165. So, you know, 10 minutes I should be maxed out, and I'm very much so not maxed out.
Yeah, but you also pressured and lost units and all that stuff, so...
Yeah, that's true, but a GM would definitely be maxed out at this point.
here.
That's a GM.
Yeah, and that's why I'm not GM.
That's why we're all not GM.
Yep.
But we can see also like low GMs and even high GMs making some crucial mistakes. There was I think I saw a couple of people in CSO Cup just actually forgetting to properly macro with pylons and everything. And I remember there was like a replay on IODIS Harstem's on Harstem's channel that featured, I think, Spirit versus Christianer. And yeah, basically Spirit was barely macroing properly. He was queuing up stuff, all that good jazz. And Harstem was like, I know to some of you people this might seem like nitpicking, but this is not lower MMR anymore, baby.
Yep.
This is the higher leagues.
Yep.
All right. So next is, ooh, did you say that this was like a scrappy TVZ?
Well, yeah, it's definitely like a macro low eco game, but the reason I chose this one is because I made a bunch of mistakes and misplays, and like I did not play this very well. I still managed to win in the end, but I wanted to just illustrate some of the mistakes and what I should have been doing and what I didn't actually do.
Okay.
Because for the most part, right, that last game was just like a macro win. Like I just had more stuff than him, and I just used my stuff a little better. So it was pretty, standard, pretty simple game. And this game is kind of the exact opposite.
I actually like that you got to polar opposite games. Ooh, and this is like a long one.
Have fun and
Okay, so you have the opportunity to actually learn a lot.
Hopefully. Although I
I'm
actually
pretty
haven't
sure.
watched the whole replay, so I'll be learning some things as I watch it too.
I'm pretty sure like everyone today was like, at least I forced them to watch some of their replays, you know.
Yeah.
I can tell that like basically Brombos had the general ideas, and he prepared those two replays, and he had this fresh game against Origin, so it was kind of easier to just think about it because it happened recently. I loved how Winter just basically prepared, and he was like, "Oh, I hope it's gonna be good. I hope you don't mind that. Okay, I brought a loss, and then all that stuff."
Yep.
And he was like talking about the 30-something minute PVT to the smallest detail, and also you bring like a really cool standard, but it's kind of like your signature. Honestly, if I think about this 2 to 3 base push, I think of you, honestly, like 99.9% of the time. Because I saw this a lot from you when basically I casted a lot of games that were similar to that, and I always like try to mention that, oh, this is like SilencedBomb style.
Yeah, my coach told me many years ago that's what standard was, and I was like, oh, I'm not a cheeser, I'm going to play standard, and so I've just learned it that way.
Yeah. I mean, depends how you define standard, right?
Of course, yeah. I mean, like, I wouldn't necessarily say it's the only standard today, because there's so many different ways to play.
Yeah.
Okay, so TVZ, unlike TVP and TVT, where you have to be continuously watching everything in the early game because everything can kill you, in TVZ, Zerg really can't do very much against you, right? And so this is a Barrack Scout. A little later, this is the only matchup I think you can pull off a Barrack Scout, and then the timing in this case is the hatchery should be like just about finishing or already finished when your SUV arrives. So it's kind of simple for like if you just don't know what a hatchery timing should be with SUV Scouts. This one's kind of the easiest because the hatchery should be done. If the hatchery is like a third way done, or is like 2/3 of the way done, or 1/3 of the way done, then you have to if it's 2/3 of the way, it's 12 pool, and then you can finish your command center. If it's 1/3 of the way done, it's probably like a 14/14, and you may not be able to finish your command center, and then you have to make like double marine and go into tanks or banshees, different cheese responses. But this game turns out to be a regular macro game.
But you said 12 pool. I think you meant like 12 pool is you cannot finish with the 12 pool, right?
12 pool. I think you.
12 pool
I think you can. Yeah.
12 pool is the fastest. That's what I'm asking.
Yeah, no, yeah, you might be right. You might be right. It's 12 pool. You can't finish.
It's funny how I never actually memorized these timings, but I know by the time the 12 pool digs arrive, I need to wall off.
Yeah.
I need to have the second zealot on the way. First one already out, probe in position, all that stuff. But if you ask me like what time, go watch the replay. I'll send you a replay. Feel free to test it out.
Your command center up.
So at this point already, this game's already, much more aggressive than they usually are. Zerg typically doesn't send 4 slowlings across the map. Of course, he kills a depot that's building, which is annoying, but that's not the end of the world. I send my Reaper back just because I'm panicking because I only have a Marine at home. But I actually should have just left it there and gone in and tried to get some drones because my Hellions are about to pop. Yeah, and you can see I clean this up pretty much for free. Like, he kills a building depot, and that's it. He doesn't get anything else. And now the Reaper's at home, so it kind of works out because I can bring the Reaper with the Hellions, but I definitely should have left it there because I needed to scout his gases and see what was going on.
Yeah, did he pull out of gas? Did he make a second gas or something?
Yeah. But I will say, too, so I scouted his third timing with my Reaper. After that, I felt pretty comfortable. I have played this guy on the ladder before, so I know that he generally goes macro. But I was feeling pretty safe here, and it was after I saw the third, right? If you don't see a third, it's going to be either a Bane bus or like a 1 base or a 2 base like Roach Ravager push, in which case against Banes, you can make Hellions, but generally you'll want tanks against that. But once you see the third, you're safe to swap the barracks and factory add-ons and start making Hellions. I continually make libs because I'm afraid to micro Banshees, because I've just never microed a Banshee before, but I should actually start doing Banshee because lib doesn't seem to get much done anymore. Most Zergs at this level I'm finding are pretty good at defending.
Also, good night, Adam. Thank you for stopping by. Actually, no, thank you for being here almost all day. Thank you for the In My Mind session once again. Have a good night. Okay, Origin just left the building.
That Widow Mine is a mistake. I should not have made it, but I accidentally made a Widow Mine, so might as well put it in the wall.
I love that. I actually love the idea that you're like, oh, it is what it is. It happened, it happened.
Yeah. And so here you can see, right, this is that one Hellion that popped out because I made a Widow Mine instead. So I just leave that at home as well.
So wait, now you have... Well, you still have... Oh, you have still 6 cars, but you had to go for 1 more.
Yeah.
Oh, you have 5 here. Okay. Okay, that's what I was curious about.
So this is like... Let's see, yeah. So I saw the drone count there. I saw he had, maybe 5-6 drones. So, he's not doing some 2 base lean goal in. And then now the idea here is I just try to be annoying and harass as much as I can, kill any building creep tumors, but, stay back and don't actually commit. And you can see, so I lose my lib. That's pretty standard. I'm finding I almost always lose my lib.
It's like standard, It's like... I remember some people were like raging like, why can't you play standard? I'm like, I play standard. No, playing standard means you have to do this, then I do this, then you do that, and then I do this. I'm like, what do you mean? It's not a pattern. It's not a script. We're not at Hollywood. We're not pretending. Of course I'm not going to do that if you expect that.
So here you can see I'm saturating my gases making depots, but if you look on the mini-map, all of my Hellions just got completely annihilated by a massive Zerglings. And I completely miss it. Like, I don't even click on the mini-map, I just had no idea what happened there. I mean, you can even see, like, I don't have Hellions in my control group anymore, and I still have absolutely no idea.
Actually,
well, now
I
I
don't
figure
even
out.
see the control groups because I have the... What's it called? The WCS overlay.
Okay, yeah. Now, so you see that accidental Widow Mine just... Actually, this time did a kill. Yeah, 11. Just killed 11 Zerglings. So I wasn't paying attention at all, but I had a wall and I accidentally made a Widow Mine, so it works out. Oh, okay. Actually, this is great. So he's not actually doing like a Bane bust timing or anything. This is 6 minutes, right? So a bunch of Banes walking into your wall at 6 minutes is never actually going to kill you, but this might be some good disaster control. Yeah, so he busts with a bunch of Banes, comes in with next to no Zerglings whatsoever. And he killed 1 worker. Okay, never mind. That wasn't much of a disaster control thing. I just had Widow Mines. I think for the most part that play was actually a misplay on his part. But this is also why I've been going Widow Mines and TVZ. I used to do tanks a lot, but tanks just felt too weak. And I never target fired them, so I wasn't very good at using them. And then Widow Mines, you don't really have to target fire. They kind of just find the big mass and kill everything anyway. Okay, so the next big build benchmark at this point is once your 2 medevacs come out, you load them up with as much as you can fit them with, go across the map, and try to be even more annoying. Because against Zerg, you always want to be harassing, you always want to make them make something that's not drones. Otherwise, they'll be at 80 drones in 6 minutes, and you have no hope by the mid-game. So here are the medevacs. They're a little late. Usually this should hit by like 6 minutes, but well, I guess a little late is I underestimate. They are very late, but
No, basically like going to be like a minute and a half late, but
yeah.
Considering that you had to deal with the Bane bust and all that stuff, this better be good. I guess it's somewhat reasonable.
Okay, so in terms of supply depot walls, this is something I've gone back and forth on. I've had different people tell me the different things. I know a lot of Terrans like to make walls at the 3rd. I used to do that a lot too, but I've started finding that the Zergs were just, they would just come in like early on like this and just, with maybe 25 lings, and they just start killing all your depots. And so I would consistently be supply blocked for 2 or 3 minutes in TVZs. So instead what I started doing is just building them behind my natural mineral line. And so that does mean I don't have any protection by my 3rd, so I definitely have to keep my army there, and I have to, keep a watch out for ling run bys, but it also means I won't get supply blocked for 3 minutes.
What about bunkers?
I mean, bunkers are always good. Like, there's nothing wrong with them, but I feel like against Zerg, they're not quite as useful as, like, against Protoss, for example. I guess it's just because Zerg is so fast that I feel like they can always just run around them. Like, if they can't get into the 3rd, they'll just go into the main. Something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the first major misplay. I need to go home with these. Or, if not go home, I need to go back to the middle of the map, keep the Marines alive so I can use them later. So the idea behind this is, just like in the TVP, is to always have 2 armies out on the map. And you see, I was looking at the Marine drop and I still managed to lose it all. So really, I shouldn't have been in the main base in the first place. If I was in the main base, I definitely should have picked up and just left. At the time, I was feeling like, okay, well, I've got my main army going to the main, so I don't really need the 2nd army now. I should be able to kill him. And of course, that doesn't work out.
He's fighting without +1/+1 finishes. So that's not great either. Okay, now he can fight.
Yeah. Yeah. So, there's no splitting or any countermeasure to the Banes. I only had 2 Widow Mines. Yeah, so this is pretty rough, right? Like, this shouldn't have happened this way. If I had instead gone to the middle of the map, maybe, let's see if I can ping. Are you able to see that ping?
Wait, let me put it on everyone. Try now.
1 second.
Actually can, okay, now I can see the ping, yeah.
Yeah, so, when I picked up that first drop, I should have gone back somewhere over in that area, right? So still by his 4th base, but farther away off creep, so he can't come and attack me. And then when my main push arrives on this ramp to the 4th base, I could come in again from the side with that double medevac drop and, provide some type of surround, right? Some type of, like, double pressure. Even though it's in the same area, it would be better than going to the main, losing it all for free, and then going in with my main base, because he only has to pay attention to 1 army at a time in that case. So that's definitely the first mistake. Like, I probably could have won the game right there if I hadn't done that, because he didn't actually have that much stuff, but he had just enough Banes to push me back, and I didn't have enough splash damage. So I go in again because, I'm getting greedy, and I think, oh, well, he didn't have that much armor, or he didn't have that big of an army. Maybe I can just win the game here.
Okay, so yeah, I guess you smell blood in the water.
Yep, and then this is, of course, what always happens, because Zerg can just, mass 40 lings. So it's really not, I guess, it's not that horrible, because I am, trading out army, I'm killing all of his stuff, but I haven't actually gotten any economic damage, haven't killed his base yet, and yeah, here you can see he eventually cleans me up, because I should have gone home much, much earlier. So at this point, we're pretty much in the early stages of the mid game, where my 4th is almost done. I think I started my 3 barracks. Yeah, so I'm going up to 8 racks. My factories are way too late, well, like 5 or 6 minutes too late in this game. But after the 4th base, or about the same time you put down the 4th base, you want to start your 2nd factory, and then eventually you want to start a 3rd. And because you have to tech into tanks eventually. Can't stand widow mines too long.
Was Oliveira the one who went for second factory before 4th base?
Yes, yeah. So he was doing a 5-2-1, so 5 barracks, 2 factories, 1 starport. I remember watching when he did that. I was thinking that's just more like a more aggressive style where you want to be out on the map longer, but then it delays your 4th base. There are definitely advantages to it. I just haven't tried it, haven't really put it into my build. Although, based off of how aggressive I was being this game, it probably would have been a better idea.
No.
So at this point, you can see I have sent this 1 medevac up top. Usually, you don't ever want to send 1 medevac, like at least a double drop, right? Because 1 can't really do that much. Like here, we only have 6 Marines. But at this point, what I should be doing is, main army somewhere on the map, a double medevac drop of Marines, widow mines on the other side. Just constantly double pronging as much as I possibly can.
That's what I was gonna ask. I guess the widow mines are like intentional, right? Putting widow mines in the medevacs.
Yeah. It is good to have widow mines, but you also want majority Marines because widow mines don't actually damage very often. Widow mines are really just to protect against like Banes or kill a bunch of Lings if they aren't paying attention. Of course, I totally miscontrol the entire thing, and I lose both sides of my army, so now I have to stay at home, and the Zerg can take a bunch of bases and drone up and tech up. And yeah, so even if you look at supply here, I'm down like 10 supply. Okay, well now I'm still down about 10. So it's not looking too great. I lost too much of my army, and I wasn't doing a great job of multi-prong. Now, of course, now I'm not even out on the map at all. And so I'm going to keep going back to this like multi-prong idea or double-prong idea. I keep sending like 1 individual medevac out this entire game, and then eventually later in the game I just stop altogether and I just start moving a massive fireball around, and that's definitely not how you play TVC. So usually I do better, but this game was particularly bad.
I mean, we all have those bad games, though. I don't think you should worry too
No, it's not
much
the end of
about
the world here, because I do have a medevac on the other side. But you can see here, I just A moved, or I was just F2 A moved. So now that drop is walking halfway across the map to meet up with these guys.
Good old F2. Still you hold, so I guess you keep your 4th base.
Yeah, actually that attack went very poorly for him. He killed maybe like 8 or 9 workers, I think, with his Banes at the 3rd. But I mean, by late game, I don't really care too much about workers. So yeah, I have 66, which is a little low, but it's not the end of the world. And you can see now I have some tanks, right? So I'm expecting lurkers, I'm ready for him to transition to lurkers. And then he kills even more workers. Oh, okay, that only got 3, yeah. So yeah, now you can see I just have this giant bio ball that I'm just walking around the map continuously with, just F2ing, take all my reinforcements, sending them across instead of using them to stop run-bys and clear up any counter-attacks that you might have. So this is definitely not what you're supposed to be doing here. Like, what I should have is, or what I should be doing is rallying my reinforcements to my 3rd base, because that's the most exposed. I need to take, like, I don't know, pause it. So I need to take like 2 of these medevacs, fill them full of Marines, and send them to the top of the map where he has that base, and then keep the rest of the army down here by the tanks, and just keep his focus here while I send my medevacs up top and try to kill some bases, or force him to split his army up, and then of course keep my reinforcements at home so I don't die to counterattacks. So I'm not doing any one of those things. Instead, I'm just F2A moving.
And it still works.
Yeah, let's see. So, yeah, it doesn't happen here. Later on, I was thinking, like, so I don't just keep complaining about the same stuff that I'm doing wrong the whole game. There are some, like, little micro tricks I think I could mention, but I don't think those come in until a little later in the game. And I still need to build more supply depots. You can see I'm stuck at, 170 out of 180. Okay, yeah, so there you can see. I'll
Ooh,
go back just one
the
step.
Lurkerinos.
Yeah, lurkers are always good.
Stand on.
Oh yeah, the other thing I should be doing is getting Ghost Academy. I don't think I ever get a Ghost Academy in this game. And that's just because I
Really?
forget. Yep.
How are you not getting a Ghost Academy in a TVZ?
Yeah, that's a good question. I just completely forget about it this time.
Oh.
Mineral field upgrade.
Well, it's like me forgetting about Dark Shrine.
Yep.
Ever.
Okay, so here, I don't have enough of them here. Like, I only have 3 Marauders. I should, like, really, you want, like, about a 50-50 or 30% Marauders, 70% Marines. But you'll notice in a second here, what I do is I command or control click the Marauders, and I send them in front of the Marines. And so when you, like, by the time you have a mixed army, it's an army that's not just Marines, you don't really need to be doing, you know, all those, like, fancy 500 APM splits. You do have to do those if you have nothing but Marines. But in this case, if you have Marauders, just command click either the Marauders or control click the Marauders forward or control click the Marines back. And that's pretty much all the micro you really have to do. So let's see. Yeah, so here, right, I've selected 4 Marauders by control clicking them, and then I send them up, I move them, and I keep the Marines back at home. So the idea with this is that the Marauders are going to go up top, and they're going to stop the Banelings or tank the Banelings. In this case, I sent them too far up, and the Marines are going to be just far enough behind the Marauders that the Banelings have farther to go, but that the Marines can still kill all the Lings that are attacking the Marauders. In this case, that doesn't work because I sent the Marines way too far up, but...
Ready for dust off.
Yeah, once again, you're only dropping a single medevac.
Yeah.
So
And I'm not even
at that top base.
Yeah, I'm not even dropping in the right place for it. And now I see his lurkers, and so I should really be unsieging and going home because there's no way I can win this fight anymore. And yeah, there I lose like a third of my army, so it's time to go
Does he
home.
have like upgrades? Doesn't have upgrades yet. Just getting go. It's just getting upgrades.
Yep. And yeah, the moment I see lurkers, I should really already have a Ghost Academy, but now I definitely need to make a Ghost Academy. And I still haven't built depots, so my
What's pretty much the optimal way to go up the Ghost Academy? Or let's just say, do you actually get the Ghost Academy like no matter what? If let's just say, I don't know. I guess is there like a timing for the Dark Shrine? Like, okay, around 10 minutes, you should get it, just in case.
There probably is a timing for TVZ, but I actually don't know it. Usually it's one of the last things I add because I've just based it on like what stage of the game we're at. So if we're in late game, like here, where you know that my opponent's teching into ultras or lurkers or broods, then you know it's probably time I get a Ghost Academy. So that's usually going to be like 12, 13. Against Protoss, I think you want to start it by like 9:30 at the latest. So usually I start my Ghost Academy while I'm on 3 bases. But of course, if you get a Ghost Academy early against Protoss, you can't go into libs. So it's either you get like a Ghost Academy or you get a double starport. I usually go Ghost Academy.
Okay.
More shoebox
As you can see, some more of that glorious A moving just to the other side of the map because you know I'm so good at this game. Now I have more Marauders, but yeah, now my tanks are exposed where I put them straight up and I lose almost 2 of them. Let's see if he gets the last one. He doesn't quite get it, but...
Oh, this is really, really good for you. Yeah, has no upgrades yet, so...
Yeah, so he sent some of his army to counterattack at my 3rd. Yeah, so you can see a bunch of Lings there. Most of them got cleaned up by the reinforcements, but he didn't have enough supporting his lurkers, which is why I was able to jump on them and kill them. But it shouldn't have worked because, you know, I'm just A-moving into lurkers. But
that I guess sounds really, really bad, honestly.
Yeah.
A-moving into lurkers.
I suppose he's also making similar mistakes to me, which is why I won this game. This 5th base is way too late. Like we're 15 minutes in, I should be on like 6 bases going up to 7. Okay, yeah, so there, you can see like those Marines are running away. So because I didn't see the Banes coming in time, I didn't have time to set up or split or anything. I just command or control click the Marines and command move them up top. That way all the Banes instead explode on the Marauders, and I only lose like 2 Marauders instead of all of my Marines. And now I have Marines left over to clean up all the wings. So That's why I always tell people you don't. Well, I guess I lose most of them, but you don't actually have to be a absolute god at splitting to play bio against Zerg. Well, okay, you do if you're just going to make pure Marines and like Widow Mines or tanks, but don't
if
make
your name is Beyond, then you don't have to worry about it.
Yep.
That's when just StarCraft usually points out is like, well, if Beyond is like the best at Marine micro, and they say like, oh, when Beyond just dies, it's fine because he just micros Marines for 20 more minutes and then leaves the game.
Yep.
If he's dead.
And so you can see here, I do the same thing again, right? I pull the Marines back. Now all the Banes are dead, so now I need to send them back as soon as possible, which I don't do. There you go. Now I get move them again. So here, what was going through my brain at this time is, okay, well, I want to be in between the Zerg rally, right? I want to be like, or he has 2 bases below me, 2 bases above. That's perfect, right? Like right in the middle, he won't ever be able to reinforce his bases, which isn't necessarily wrong. Like that is a true statement, but at this point in like late game, I should have. Oh, I guess he didn't have it. Or I should have expected that he actually had more bases on the bottom. And so what I really needed to do was go after its bases, which I think I will eventually do. But yeah, once I see those lurkers, it's like, okay, well, we can't push down that side, so we'll just go do what we can. But I should have been pushing this base up here much sooner. Like this should have been my priority, just because late game I need to take out his modes of production and his economy while I expand mine. Although you can see he's floating like 1k, 1k, and I barely have any minerals.
Okay.
And you can see all my reinforcements are coming from my base in this one line, which tells you that I'm A-moving, or that I'm F2 A-moving.
Good old F2 A move.
Yeah. If I had ghosts, I actually wouldn't hate it that much, because, you know, ghosts are hard to micro, so sometimes it is good to keep your army together if you have ghosts, because then you can just focus on microing ghosts and, you know, moving your Marines back. But I don't have ghosts, so there's no excuse to not be multi-pronging right now.
Zoned out so hard, lol. He's mad. He starts getting mad.
Yeah, at this point, so he's on 80 workers, I'm on 46 SCVs, so my army is just bigger than his, and so I can pretty much just A-move him to death. Which is what I've been doing all game, and it shouldn't have been working, but it does.
Well, sometimes some things that shouldn't work actually work, so...
Yep. Also, I made a 3rd factory, but I forgot to hotkey it, so it hasn't been doing anything all game.
No, the good old non-working 3rd factory.
Yeah. And then Ling Runner buys against the Planetary, which is always never going to work. And so yeah, he's just throwing away Lings with that type of crap.
Basically, at this point, whatever you're doing is like...
Yeah, I'm pretty much maxed out. And I still haven't made that depot, right? Like, I'm still actually not maxed out. I'm at 195. Oh yeah, so this is this is terrible on both sides. Like, he makes a significant misplay. I also played horribly, but it works out for me.
Doesn't have the barrel speed for lurkers.
Yeah, so if you are going to fight lurkers, make marauders. It's kind of the same idea with ultras. Well, that's not the way to put it. If you don't have anything to fight lurkers, then make marauders and use marauders. So same thing with ultras. Marauders aren't good against ultras, but they're significantly better than marines. So if you have no other option, if you have no other tech choice, or you want to make marauders instead. And so in this case, it's better to use marauders against lurkers than it is to use marines. But he doesn't have any Bailings, and I have a bunch of marines, and so I can just A-move into him, and he does. Well, not yet, but he will die in a moment.
Wait for it. Just a moment.
Yeah, here we go. Yeah. So this is his misplay, right? He moves the lurkers up unsupported, without the hydras, without any Lings.
Doesn't have adaptive talents. Once again, I think that's also a huge mistake. Now I guess you just overwhelm him here.
Yeah, and of course I have 3/3 at this point, so. And then yeah, I can just go up top, kill his other base, and he only took 1 more base, so he's back to 3 bases, and I'm going up to 6.
There we go. At least he admits.
Although, I mean, he was only really ahead for a little section in the mid game, but yeah. So for all the Terrans out there, multi-prong, double prong. Don't F2 move your army around the map. It won't work.
No, actually,
unless you're playing with this
just
guy.
called out to to stop multi-pronging. Be a Giga Chat like you are.
Oh, yeah,
and
that works
just
too.
keep F2A moving. Yeah, that's all you
Okay,
do
well.
anyways. Sorry, wrong chat.
Yeah.
What were we talking about? Never heard anything about it. I'm innocent. But yeah. So basically, I like the concept that you were like going into detail. Like, okay, I should have like 2 medevacs here, not a single one. Then you should multi-prong. And yeah, though you had like, I think subconsciously you actually gave up on multi-prong because you were like, I'm actually losing all my armies that I'm
Actually, yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, because I wasn't migrating them very well, wasn't paying much attention.
your subconscious could have actually do like, fuck it, just go F2A move, caveman.
Yeah.
Caveman
I can definitely
Starcraft.
say, I was so at like in this game I had a diamond border, so I was trying to get my master border back for like the 5th time. So I was a little under pressure because I had to win 3 games in a row to get masters, and I don't want to
Nice.
wait, a couple more days to lose games and win games again. So there was definitely this like outside pressure of, oh well, I really want to win this game, and that's probably why I wasn't playing too well either. I wasn't relaxed and thinking clearly.
Oh, that pesky Masters border, man. Yeah, sickest is like, why double prong when you can triple prong though?
I mean, so if you can triple prong, then like absolutely do it. But like you can say, I only use 2 control groups for my army, and so I don't have any more room to triple prong. And even if I did, like I was losing, at least double prongs left, right, and center. So if I was doing 3, then I lose even harder. But you can, or if you see some of the, I don't know, who's some of the more active pros. Mario actually isn't that. Yeah, I guess when I know Clem's probably the best example. Some of those high APM pros, like they'll have a liberator that they're moving around 2 bases, double drop somewhere else, and then main army somewhere else, right? So it is possible to triple prong. Definitely do it if you can, but I'm nowhere near fast enough to do that. Of course, I also have pretty low APM, so.
Fair enough.